This is FCTV, fan-controlled television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans, of fan-controlled sports and entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show.
Don't cause a ruckus. We talking that talk, it's spitting them facts. We setting them traps and cracking them bags. We got all the news, we know all the stories. We start from the bottom, rise up to the glory. We say what your local reporters can't say. We break down the X's and O's on the play. It's AJ, King, Khah and Jose Ruckus. We call it right on the first take and they love us. Yeah, we the best when it comes to sports debate. Find the podcast and let it play. If we get you in your feelings, that's okay. AJ and Jose send you on your way like, bruh, don't cause a ruckus.
We just call it how we see it, big bro. And that we will always.
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Don't Cause a Ruckus, the sports debate show that tries not to take itself too seriously. I am your host, Jose Ruckus, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, my friend, my arch rival, AJ Khah. What's up, AJ?
Not too much, man. Just, hanging out, trying to stay awake. I think me and are on the same sleep schedule, which is we aren't on a sleep schedule. Yeah, man. That's pretty much it. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. My sleep schedule's actually been way better than it has been in the last 3 months. So, I'm starting to get back on schedule. No, it's been an exciting couple of weeks of sports. I know we haven't been on in a while. And it's unfortunate to announce it, AJ, but this is the season finale of Don't Cause a Ruckus.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we will be going on a hiatus for a little bit. We don't know when we're coming back, but we're not saying goodbye. We're saying see you later. Yeah. But we still got a whole show in front of us.
We've got, the summer's coming up. There's not going to be any sports news unless you want us to do a completely baseball-centered show for the next 4 months, which I don't want to do that.
I don't think I can do that. I think we're going to have to replace me with somebody else. AI, AJ.
AI, AJ?
AIJ? I don't know.
But we do have a very good show for the people. The last one of the season, because the NBA Finals just wrapped up. The NHL Finals also wrapped up, but let's be honest, we're not going to be talking about that. We're also going to give you our way too early NFL predictions. And, maybe you'll find out if we were right. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll check in on that eventually. But AJ, the Denver Nuggets won their first championship in the history of the franchise. They beat the Miami Heat 4-1. What were your thoughts on the finals? What were your takeaways from this?
I called it. That's my takeaway. I said gentleman's sweep when we first got to this point for the Nuggets. That happened. I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. I think the Nuggets need to get a lot more props. I feel like, a lot of people didn't judge them, didn't think they were good enough, didn't really even though they were doing well throughout the entire season, just nobody thought they were going to win it all. They were number 1 seed. Nobody thought they were going to win it all. And it's shocking to me. I think Jokic is, a player of this generation. I think he's probably one of the best players of this time. And Jamal Murray, like we talked about, a while ago, he came out to play in the playoffs like I expected him to. It was a boring playoffs. It was a boring finals, if I'm going to be honest. I didn't really, it was so... I'm going to put it like this. I felt like I was watching wrestling. I felt like I was watching AEW and WWE because, as I get older, the whole appeal of wrestling is kind of like, the whole facade of wrestling is kind of like, fallen. The curtain has fallen on me. I know behind the scenes. I know it's predetermined. And now I can watch matchups ahead of time and be like, oh, he's gonna win, he's gonna win, he's gonna win, this person's gonna win, guy's gonna lose. If he wins, it's because somebody's gonna interfere. And that's how it felt with this NBA playoffs a lot of the way. Besides the Miami Heat doing what they do best, in the early stages. That was the only thing that was spicy about this playoffs. Everything else kind of was just like, yeah, I expected that.
The Nuggets really didn't face any challenges their whole way through this. It felt like they cleaned up everything with ease. They ran through the Suns, they ran through the Lakers, like they were just beating up everybody. Yeah, and I think this is one of those like rare years where it's like hard to argue in any way at all that the best basketball team didn't win the finals. I know that happens a lot, especially when you see like injuries and stuff happen from year to year, but like no, we saw the best basketball team win the finals this year. Their offense was just immaculate. It was a beautiful offense that they were running. Everything was right on point. They would maybe have a quarter, maybe even a half where they would look like, oh, maybe they're not trying hard enough. But as soon as they started trying again, they were basically unbeatable. The Miami Heat were definitely the most interesting story through these playoffs. An 8 seed making it all the way to the finals, knocking out the 1 seed, going through all these the gauntlet that Miami had to run through in order to attempt to win a finals was absolutely insane. And when you look at it, like Jimmy's ankle obviously wasn't right. They lost Tyler Hero very early on. I would like to see what, and then like Miami having to take all these teams. They had to take it, they had to go all the way with the Celtics. They had to battle through these teams like super, super hard. If they had this kind of schedule that the Nuggets got to go through a much easier kind of playoff run, who knows what these finals look like? Maybe it's a bit more of a competition, but big respect to the Miami Heat. I was rooting for them. They didn't get it done. They look like they have a good core that's cheap though. Like that's the good thing about it.
They have a good place to build for next season for sure. They just need a Scottie Pippen to Jimmy Butler's Michael Jordan. That's what they need.
We'll be talking about that a little bit later. I do want to shift the focus back over to the Nuggets though, because we've seen for the last couple seasons, it felt like the Nuggets were just like not totally there. Like Jokic wasn't being able to get it done in the playoffs. And I think now we realize Jamal Murray, he was just hurt. Like he just spent 3 seasons injured and like never being able to show up in the playoffs. And then when he was there, when it mattered, like you said, he went crazy during these playoffs. Some of the stats you're seeing, the triple doubles he put up with Jokic also having triple doubles. Like this is some historic offensive performance in a finals. And like I can't, like, if the Celtics had made it through, if the Bucks had made it through, I think it's really hard to imagine any of those teams being able to deal with this Nuggets team.
Yeah, I really don't think that there's any team realistically in the entire playoffs that could beat the Nuggets the way they played this postseason. Especially like, come on, look at Jamal Murray, look at Jokic, and look at what they did. They did something that has never been accomplished by 2 teammates ever in the history of the NBA, and that's put up a triple double with 30 points each on the same team. This never happened. Yeah, and to do it in the playoffs, it's wild.
The finals. They did it in the finals.
Yeah, they did in the finals.
When it mattered the most, they showed up like no team we'd ever seen show up before. And it goes to the way that Denver plays really unselfish basketball. Mm-hmm. You don't ever see, like, I mean, obviously everything runs through Jokic because he's the best player in the world, but he'll pass if the double team comes from him. He's going to find the open man. He's going to trust, even though, Michael Porter Jr. had a really bad finals. Like, I mean, compared to how he was doing, he was great throughout the whole postseason and then fell apart in the finals. They were still giving him shots. If he was open, they were going to give him the ball. They don't care. They're going to let their players play. Aaron Gordon, the way he stepped up into that role player, that role, and just like, man, was an absolute problem for the Miami Heat this entire time. And just like, not a main guy, not one of the big guys on the team, not an offensive juggernaut, but just like playing his role, getting it done.
But that was for this team. When he was in the Magic, that his role was the big man, the star player.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I love about the makeup of this Denver Nuggets team is that while arguably you can't say that, anybody is an all-star besides like Jokic, and you could argue Jamal Murray. On other teams, every one of these like starters would be a star player on separate teams. Like you put one person on Orlando, one person in Portland, these guys would be considered all-stars. And that's the thing that I kind of love about this is like they're built like the Detroit Pistons when they won their championship. They're built like these teams that should win because there's not one big star player taking everything. They're unselfish with the ball. And that's what I love to see. Like, you know, the reason why they won it, though, is Jokic. But the reason why they got there was because they were a team.
It's a well-constructed, very, very well-coached team. And yeah, like, you could put Michael Porter Jr. on another team. I think he's like a CJ McCollum level guy, like a guy you would consider a legit number 2. On this team, he's probably the 3rd best player, and just 3-point specialist. He's going to hit threes. Maybe occasionally he's going to start driving. Maybe occasionally he'll put up a really good defensive game. But he's just taking these role player, parts of the court. And like Aaron Gordon as well. Like, this is a deep team. You saw Bruce Brown show up pretty well in the finals. The Christian Braun showed up, played really well. Like, these dudes, it's just I love the unselfish way that they play basketball. You don't see a lot of that these days in the NBA. A team that is just well coached, a well choreographed system. It almost feels like you're watching the 2015 Warriors with the ball movement, with the way everybody's working in together and stuff. I think the future for the Denver Nuggets is really bright if these guys stay healthy. If they get another full season out of Jamal Murray, it's hard not to see this team being back in this situation, winning another championship.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Especially if they keep the core the way it is. Yeah. I think they should be considered the number 1 team, but the way that ESPN and all these pundits are, I don't believe that they'll be considered the number 1 team for next season.
Well, you know what? We'll give our thoughts about that later on in this show. Peanut was asking for it. You know what? I'm just going to throw him a little bit of a bone here. The Las Vegas Golden Knights, they won a championship right last night. They absolutely clubbed the Florida Panthers 9-4. I think was the final score in the game.
Dang.
You feel bad for the Panthers. I don't know if you heard this. Their number 1 player, they fractured his sternum during the game.
Woof.
Went out there, scored another goal. Like the Panthers were just absolutely beat up. They took the Boston Bruins to 7 games and beat them in their first playoff series, and that just left the team completely destroyed for the rest of the playoffs. But the Vegas, I actually do want to say something about the Vegas, because I think that it's really interesting the way that team is like 4 or 5 years old, and they've already won a championship. They already went to another championship. They've only missed the playoffs once. They are legitimately probably the best expansion team of all time, and just really, really well run as an organization. Like, they missed the play. They built this really good core, took it to the finals. They missed the playoffs once, and then just immediately started spending money, getting things together, and then they win a championship off of it. That's kind of what you want teams to, if you're a fan of a team.
Yeah, you want them to do that. You want them to start off like that.
There's nothing more painful than when you go to the finals or you make a deep playoff run and you're feeling good about your team, but you're one piece away. You need something else there, and they're just nah, we're just gonna run it back, and we'll probably be worse next time, but we're just gonna run it back. We're just gonna try it again, and it never works. The fact that they double down, they put the chips up to the table, and yeah, it works. It works. Pay attention.
I mean, I will say, I give them credit where credit's deserved to win. I'm a fan of the Knights, but I will say this. The expansion draft is situated in a way that helps these new teams in a large way to make them very, competitive right from the get-go. So
but that's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying you kind of gotta. That's why they were so competitive right from the get-go. It's kind of like the MLS. Same thing with Atlanta United. Atlanta United won I think season 2. They've been competitive ever since. They're one of the better teams in the MLS. It behooves these leagues to have, when they do expansions, to have an expansion draft in a way that helps and makes those new young teams competitive. Just because you want people to fill those stadiums quickly. Nobody wants to see a team rebuild. So,
and it doesn't always immediately lead to this instant success. You saw the Kraken. The Kraken finally made it to the playoffs. I think it took them 3 years or so. So it's not like an immediate, hey, you're a competitor or anything. I think the Vegas Knights have if you're smart. I mean, if you remember how this started off, the Vegas Knights, they went into that expansion draft. They did really well in that expansion draft, and then they just bought a bunch of veteran contracts. Like they went all in on these old veterans, and they just went in at the right time, and they got the right guys. And now, yeah, it's a different team now, and they're winning a championship. I love to see it. I do want to see, like, because we're talking about MLB and NBA teams, like an expansion coming to that soon. If it's going to be, a team in Vegas, it's going to be a team probably in Seattle. I want those teams to compete. I don't want us to add an NBA team into, I don't want them to be the Vancouver Grizzlies. I don't want them to be, the Charlotte Bobcats, where it's just a decade of them being completely irrelevant. Yeah, it's otherwise, like, why even give them a team? Like, I want, if we get the Sonics back, if we get a team in Vegas, I want those teams competing immediately. Let's get back onto some Nuggets talk, specifically Nikola Jokic. I put out a tweet after the finals, AJ. This is an opinion that I have, and I need to preface this with a little bit of information. I grew up in California, okay? I watched the Lakers three-peat with Shaq and Kobe, okay? I need you to remember this, okay? I watched Shaq. When I was growing up, Shaq's my favorite player of all time, okay?
Okay.
Absolute dominant center, not going to argue it at all. I love Shaquille O'Neal. And I need you to understand this. I watched him in his prime. I appreciated him in his prime. I think Nikola Jokic is the best big man I've ever seen play basketball.
Yeah, easy. I mean,
it's insane.
That we've ever seen play live. Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say this, that I've ever seen play. So like, I never saw Hakeem Olajuwon play in his prime. I never saw
Wilt.
Kareem. I never saw Wilt. I never saw Bill Russell. I saw Shaq. And I think that Jokic is better. I think he's the best big man that's ever played in the time that I've been watching basketball, because there's just nothing that he can't. There's no deficiency in his game. Shaq was absolutely dominant in the paint, a pretty good defender. He was incredibly hard to stop, but they built an entire system around stopping Shaq, right? Like we had a way to do it. He was terrible. He was terrible from the line. Honestly, they were a little generous with Shaq too, as far as fouls go. I think if Shaq plays today, he's fouling out a lot more than he would have back then.
100%.
And I think Jokic gets away with a bit, especially if you watch these finals. It seemed like he was just elbowing Bam every single chance that he got, and he got away with quite a few. But I mean, Jokic is maybe not quite as dominant in the post, but he's very dominant in the post. I don't know if you saw the viral clip going around of JJ Redick, the most efficient shot in the 10 years of basketball that we've had tracking data is a Nikola Jokic post up. It's a dominant post up game.
From half court.
We're talking about, I think without a doubt, the best passing big man of all time. The way this guy passes, he's maybe one of the best passers, period, of all time, even if you don't limit it to the big man. The way this guy can drain it from three, the way that you send him to the line, he's making both free throws. I don't know how you defend this dude. Legitimately, I don't know what you do.
No, it's scary because he's like a triple-double threat every night he steps onto the court. Not only that, he's the first player to lead all players in points, rebounds, and assists in a single postseason. That's a nut statistic if you think about it. Like, he's a big man, and he led in assists in a postseason.
Yeah, you're talking about like the guys that you bring up when you talk about triple. It's like Russell Westbrook, right?
Yeah,
it's Big O. Those are the types of dudes who are dominating the triple-double game. This is not Nikola Jokic, his 7-footer.
I'm talking assists. I'm not even talking triple-double. I'm just talking assists. And then you're like triple-double. I'm like, well, yeah, but I mean, the types of players who dominate all aspects of the game like that, getting the rebounds, getting the assists, they're like power forwards. They're, that's that role. They're not. The center is running the offense. Like he's coming down with the ball. He's posting. He's finding the passes. They're running the offense through him. It's insane to watch. It's kind of nuts to see a team, And this comes from somebody who played basketball. It's nuts to see a team have that much confidence in a center controlling the ball. Now, I am 6 foot. I am not a tall man. I should have played center in high school, especially in Georgia, but I did. I was the backup center for my team. I fouled out a lot. I was a scrappy center, but I fouled out a lot. And yeah, so let me put it to you this way. There was one day in practice where I stripped the ball from somebody at half court, and I was running because I had nobody around me. Fast break, you take the ball and you go lead a layup. My coach walks into the middle of the court whistling, yelling, hold on. What do we never do? And I was like, score at this rate? What? And he goes, we never let the center dribble the ball off the court. That is a rule. We don't do it. I'm like, it's 2 feet. But that's regardless to say, there are coaches out there that will never trust a center to dribble the ball up the court. This is amazing to see. This is changing the game up. The game has changed completely thanks to Jokic. And the man is an offensive machine. Not only that, I agree with you. He's arguably the best big man in the NBA history. And that's wild to say.
If he keeps up this pace, he gets a couple more rings. I think it's gonna be hard to argue anybody else.
He just has to stay in shape.
Yeah, and I mean, is he in shape now?
Well, okay, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, he's not in shape, but like you can't. I mean, it is
funny. Like you look at him like 3 years ago versus now, and he has lost a ton of weight. He's way more lean, but he's still like
he's got some baby fat.
The way that like on an inbound pass or whatever, he's just like leaning on these guys, and it must feel like they're like the Hulk on that the Secret Wars cover, just like holding up the entire mountain. That's most what it feel like to try to like post up Nikola Jokic. Like he's just so big. This guy's nuts, man. I'm in awe of watching Nikola Jokic play basketball. I really, really am.
Yeah, man. I think I don't know of another center in the NBA that you can say is as good or can even defend Nikola.
I really don't know what the strategy is if you're going to try to defend against him, because it's like, what is he? You can't double team him. He's going to find the open man easily. You can't, try to match him in the post. He's probably taller than you. He's probably going to be able to, he can find his shot from anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't drag him out to the 3-point line because he'll hit the 3.
Unless Wemby starts pumping them like irons, man, turns into the new Dwight Howard. There's nobody that can really. I think the best player in the NBA for a while.
I think what you're gonna have to see teams start doing is just play him with speed. Like you're just gonna have to make him run full court the entire game, and then just hope he's worn out by the time you get to the fourth quarter. I think that's the only thing that you're gonna be able to do against this guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we know that teams, they're going to have to figure out a way to beat Nikola Jokic. They're going to be looking to add on to the rosters that they already have that are good. So, AJ, I want to take a look. The trading block. We're already starting to hear rumors about who's potentially making their way to the trading block, who's going to be up for trade this offseason. I want to know your thoughts on who the big targets are going to be for some of these teams, where they might end up. What are you thinking? The way too early NBA trade predictions.
All right, way too early. And I'm going to do this right now. You got the man that I want to talk about, Dame Lillard. We talked about Jimmy Butler needing a run to his Batman. And I think that's this guy right here. Yeah, there. Right there. Yeah. Damian Lillard. Why do I think he's going to leave? Because Portland has nothing to build around Dame. He's such a good player. He deserves an opportunity at a belt. Well, I say belts at a ring. He needs to go to a team that actually has potential. If Portland wants to do the right thing by the player that stood by them for so long, they're going to trade him to a team that has an opportunity to win. I think the Heat give up Tyler Hero, a couple picks, maybe Duncan Robinson and a couple other young players. That's a good turnaround for Dame Lillard. gives Blazers something to build upon, a young squad. Tyler Hero's, he's a good player. He's not Dame Lillard worthy, but you got a couple picks where you can mess around with. I think that would be a good trade to see. It also gives the Heat what they're sorely needing in a number 2 that, like, when the chips are down, you don't always have to rely on Jimmy Butler. I see DeMar DeRozan going to the Big Apple. I don't want him to go to New York. But New York isn't doing well. They need an all-star. They need a guy to rely on. Like, Brunson is cool. He did a lot of change there, but, like, Julius Randle ain't it. You got to trade it up. So
No, he's not.
Give the Bulls Julius Randle, get DeMar DeRozan back, give him a first-round pick. The Bulls aren't the best at making trades. They'll probably take that.
You think DeRozan still like pulls that much weight in a trade?
Yes, but only because it's New York. New York isn't that great of a negotiator either, and we'll see what they can do. I think Julius Randle, DeMar DeRozan, and a pick straight up. I think that'll go. I think Chicago will probably do that. And I don't know, man. I think Bradley Beal is gonna go somewhere. I don't know where. I'm leaning towards the Wizards or the 76ers, I mean. And the Wizards getting Tobias a couple picks and someone else. But I don't know. I feel like the Wizards are going to try to get as much as they can for Bradley Beal in this offseason. It makes sense for them to. And the Wizards, they're another team like, Portland, who they just don't have enough to build around this player. He's not necessarily someone to build around, in my opinion. So get what you can while the iron's hot,
Okay, so I like some of these ideas. I'm going to switch them around a little bit, though. Dame Lillard, I'm going to say is going to wind up on the Los Angeles Lakers. I think that they need. They're still in competition. They still really need something to put them to the next level. They need that spacing for LeBron and AD to get the work done. I could see, we saw the Lakers put together a real nice team at the end of the season there. I could see flipping an Austin Reeves, a Rui Hachimura, some of those dudes who they discovered throughout the season, turning that into Damian Lillard. They're going to have to give a big price tag because they're probably not going to be in the market of giving away picks when you have a Bronny James coming into the league. But I think that they built up a lot of bench talent. You could see quite maybe a pick swap in there. I think you could end up Damian Lillard making his way down south. The Heat are in desperate need of a true... Honestly, like Bam, I don't even think is a real second best player. So they do need a number 2. And I think they're going to be going after Bradley Beal. I think Bradley Beal does everything that team needs them to do. You could see Tyler Hero going there. I think that the Wizards don't have that much leverage. I think you're going to see the Wizards really try to work on something with Bradley Beal. So maybe they end up giving Tyler Hero up. Maybe they don't. It's hard to tell. I don't think that you have to give up Bam to get Bradley Beal, though. And I think that that's going to be the big thing for Miami, is whether or not they have to give up Bam in order to get one of these players. I think with Damian, I think that they will have to give up Bam. I don't think you're just getting them for Tyler Hero and whatever picks Miami has, or even if you throw Duncan Robinson in there. I don't think that's enough. I think they're going to be asking for Bam Adebayo. So Bradley Beal, I think maybe you can get Bradley Beal for Tyler Hero and some stuff. Who knows what that stuff is? The Knicks definitely need something. I don't know what it is. I really don't. I don't think the Knicks are going to be in contention to get either of these dudes.
You know what I'm going to say? What I'm going to say selfishly. I want the Hawks to make a trade. All right. And everyone's like, of course you do. That's all you do. Is talk about the Hawks. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay. But as much as I love John Collins, I would love to trade John Collins for Brandon Ingram straight up. Just straight up. Maybe a pick to add to it. But I think that's a fair trade across the board. I think that helps the Hawks. I think that helps the Pelicans. They're pretty much the exact same player. They just both need new opportunities, new cities.
Do you think DeJounte Murray is going to be out there on the trading block this
On
season?
the Hawks? There's rumors that he is, but I don't want him to be. I feel like he's a good number 2 to Trae Young. I think he complemented Trae Young really well. There's a lot of rumors that the Lakers are going after Trae Young, which, a lot of the similar things that you were saying, a Rui Hachimura and all those younger guys for Trae Young and some picks. If the Hawks ever decide to trade Trae Young, I will lose my mind. Because that is not.
I think I would give up DeJounte Murray before I give up Trae. I mean, Trae's value might be a lot higher, and so that might be a little bit more appealing. I don't like the match. I don't like the mix, like that match, DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. It just feels like you don't really have an offensive identity when you have these two dudes who should both be running an offense going up and down the court. It just does. And like neither of them is that particularly good at playing the other role. DeJounte Murray doesn't feel like the dude you want playing shooting guard. It feels like you want his talents with the ball in his hand. But same thing can be said for Trae Young. So much of your offense is built around him getting into the paint, the tip up, playing around John Collins, playing around Clint Capella.
Now, okay, let's do this. Let's have some fun with this. New Orleans Pelicans, Atlanta Hawks. Let's make a trade here.
Okay.
I agree with you. Let's add DeJounte Murray. Let's add John Collins. Let's add, I don't know. We'll add someone else too. But for Zion and Brandon Ingram, we'll add like, I don't know. You can add Clint.
If we're really gonna believe Zion's gonna be good to go, he's gonna be healthy, he's gonna want to play in Atlanta, then yeah, let's throw in Clint Capella. Let's throw in DeJounte Murray. Let's throw in John Collins. You put Zion, Trae, Brandon Ingram. That feels like a team that can make a deep playoff run to me. I like that team.
I'm a fan of that team.
Just the Trae Young, Zion Williamson. Like if both of them are playing to their full capabilities, I mean, there are things Clint Capella is better at than Zion Williamson. Right? Like he's the best rebounder in the league. Like that's his thing. He's great at it. He gives you a lot of second chances on offense. With the shooting volume the Hawks have, that's really, really good. But I want to see the Trae Young floater to Zion just absolutely demolishing the dunk, man. I want to see that.
The new what was it? It was New Lob City.
New Lob City.
Yeah, there it is.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. That would be a really fun basketball team. I would like to see something like that. That might be, a little pie in the sky, a little too much daydreaming, but I really, really like it. Okay.
Fun.
So let's just give some, the season's wrapped up. Let's just give some thoughts. We've seen kind of where the teams went. Where do we think that they're going to end up next year? Who's going to be at the top of the league next season?
All right. I mean, I think the Nuggets are going to definitely be considered a top team. I'm going to say Golden State is going to struggle harder than they did this year, but they're still going to make the playoffs.
You think they're shooting more than they did last season?
Yeah, I do. I think they're getting older. They need to start looking to a younger place, and they're just going to hold on for dear life to their 3 stars of Curry, Clay, and Draymond. Even though Draymond seems like he wants to go to LA. Like
he does.
Wants to go to LA.
He wants to play with LeBron.
Yeah. And like the upper, owners are like, nah, Draymond, you ain't leaving until you retire. I hear you're gonna die a warrior. No, I don't know if the Lakers will make it unless they get Draymond or like they do something with the roster. I don't know who's moving on. Raptors. I'm sorry, BC Lion. Raptors aren't making it. Hawks, I think they're going to be just as mediocre as they are. They're going to be middle of the pack. Bulls, worse. I think the Celtics are going to do super well in the East. I think Bucks are going to struggle but do well because they have Giannis.
Well, I mean, with the Celtics, right? Do the Celtics have Jaylen Brown next season?
See, that's another rumor that I've liked hearing. He wants to come home, come to Atlanta.
I don't see that's because he's going to be a free agent, right? So they're going to have to pay him. you're going to have to move on from DeJounte Murray if you're going to really go out for Jaylen Brown, because that's going to be your shooting guard right there. That's who you want doing that. You don't need 3 of those dudes with that skill set. I could see him going to the Lakers. I think he would be good there.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of guy that they need, really good on defense, a pretty good shooter. Can't dribble, but he's got LeBron James passing him the ball. He's really good at that.
It's true.
So
Celtics fan would hate that.
I think if the Celtics let Jaylen Brown walk, if they don't make him, he's going to be eligible for Supermax there. He's going to be the highest paid player in basketball, which seems like not a great investment, all truth be told. Like, I think he's a great player. I don't think he's the highest paid player in basketball good.
No,
I think without Jaylen Brown, they're going to really struggle next season. They might be, a 6 or an 8 seed, somewhere around there.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, if he comes to Atlanta, you get rid of DeJounte Murray. Come on over, Zion. Just be healthy.
That could be that's interesting. That's interesting stuff. I like that.
Give me a healthy Zion. Give me a Jaylen Brown.
I think the Warriors recover a little bit next year. I think they're going to be good again. Steph is still playing at an extremely high level, so there's always that floor, right? That floor is pretty high. The Steph Curry shooting out of his mind at any given night is going to win you a lot of games. It's really going to come down to if Jordan Poole is able to sort of recorrect where his career has gone from being a very, very good player that we saw 2 years ago to last year where he was very, very bad. What Andrew Wiggins looks like in the future, we just don't know. He missed a good portion of this season. I think Clay does still have at least one more season in him. He went through this season. He didn't have a full warm-up. He was really hot and cold all throughout the season. There were nights where he was great. There were a lot of nights where he was bad. I think you give that guy a full preseason, he probably has 1 or 2 more seasons left in him. I could see the Warriors, I'm not saying they're going to be great or anything. I could see them settling around a 4 seed, though, at the highest. Lakers, you just don't know, right?
Yeah,
it's so hard to tell what's going to go on because that the Lakers are going to add a player. We don't know who it is. It's going to be a name, though. And so it depends on if that name is Chris Paul, if that name is Kyrie Irving, if those are the names we're talking about, I don't think that it's going to be a very good team. I think we're going to see a repeat of this season. If that name is a Jaylen Brown, if that name is a DeJounte Murray, if it's a Damian Lillard, I could really see them competing at the top of the Western Conference. The Suns, I don't know what to expect out of the Suns, to be honest with you, because when you see the names on that Suns roster, you think like, wow, how does this team lose? And then you watch them play and you're like, oh yeah, that's how they lose.
Yeah.
They have no bench. Chris Paul's old. They have no bench. KD, who knows if he's going to be able to play a full season. So the Suns are a total mystery. It's weird. And then, the East is so open because it feels like there are a couple teams that should be dominating the East. But, Bucks are probably going to be a 1 seed again. What do they do in the playoffs? I don't know.
Right? Yeah. I don't like the fact that the Bucks are probably going to be the number 1 seed. But will they, though? They have, a brand new coach. They're going to be going through a new coach's, system. I don't know. I feel like next season is very much kind of up in the air, especially the East, depending on where people land. The East could be really in flux next season, and I'm kind of into it. I feel like if the Hawks can bring back that magic from 2 years ago back, they could win it all, man. They could win it.
I'm really interested in seeing what we get out of Oklahoma City because it feels like that's a team with a whole lot of potential, a whole bunch of draft picks. I mean, they were a pretty good team this year.
They were just going all in on the Wemby prospect and just didn't win that jackpot. I want to see what happens with him. Definitely want to see what happens with the Spurs. It's going to take them a couple years to get good. I don't think they're going to do be hot off the bat, but
well, yeah, I mean, it really comes down to whether the Spurs are buyers this season or not. We don't know. We don't know what the plan is. Is it to give Wemby a couple years just to get acclimated to the league, sort of warm up, and then build a team around him? Or are they going to go all in right away? I don't really know. I do think if Chet Holmgren comes back healthy, man, I think the Thunder could be really, really good. It is a shame that we're not going to see all those 7-foot out there, but Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, man, he was such a good player last year. Like, he was he was in the MVP talks last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, but it's like he was in the MVP talks, but like Trae Young had better like points. His team was doing better, and he wasn't in the MVP talks. So like, I'm just MVP talks are kind of dumb to me as an Atlanta fan. Like when I saw that happening, I'm like, his team isn't even playoff bound, but he's an MVP candidate. Get the heck! Like I was about to lose my mind. So,
all right, is there any other team that we've missed? Anybody? Chat, hit us up. Let us know.
The Bobcats. Oh, I meant the Hornets. Sorry.
I would love it because the Hornets are an exciting team to watch. Like when you watch ball play, like LaMelo's so good, man, and like I want that team to be really, really good, and it seems like they just can't. They can't do anything. Toronto. I mean, BC Lion. I don't know what to tell you, man. Toronto's
not gonna do well.
They're in a transition period right now. They've got a lot of stuff that they need to figure out. You're just a team without like a true number one.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Like you don't have like a great, like a perennial all-star leading your team. And that's kind of what you need in the NBA. Like, I mean, to compare you to the OKC, like we were just talking about Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, I don't even think that guy's necessarily on that level yet. So,
no. Yeah, and you're dealing with the unfortunateness of being in a small market. I've grown up a fan of a small market. You don't get a lot of free agent buzz or love, and you kind of have to draft your superstars. So hopefully you get lucky, you get some good draft positions, and turns out from there. Freddie Airmail, Pacers. Woof.
Pacers are in a similar spot. They're spending a lot of time. They have a lot of like really promising talent on that team, right? They got Halliburton. They got Buddy Hield. They need a number one, though. That's another team. Like you have a foundation there that you can really put something together with. You have a good point guard. You've got one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. You just need somebody there to really anchor the entire thing. And if they do end up getting like a DeAndre Ayton this offseason, I know that's one of the rumors going around. If they're one of the teams in conversations for a Jaylen Brown player, maybe that they're a mid-level playoff team. But like right now, like they just spent an entire season tanking to try to get that number one pick. Those teams that did that, they're gonna have a reckoning this season when you didn't get Wemby. What do you do now? Yeah. Now you have to come up with a whole new plan because next year's draft doesn't have Wemby in it. So now you have to really start building up your team. And, 4 years down the line, I could see the Pacers being pretty good, but next season, no, they're just not it. All right. So AJ, we're taking a break, taking at least the whole summer off.
Yep.
So we're not going to be around for the lead up to the NFL season. So I just want to do the entire lead up to the NFL season right now in this segment.
All right, let's do it. Cool.
Who do you think are going to be the top teams in the NFL this season right now? We just wrapped up the OTAs.
Okay.
Googling.
I'm definitely Googling.
Doing some research. So there are some easy answers here, right? Kansas City's still going to be great.
Obviously,
they're still going to be really, really good. San Francisco.
Yeah.
Still going to be. There's question marks at the quarterback situation, right? We don't really know what's going on there.
Well, Brock Purdy still figuring out what's going on.
Brock Purdy, he's coming back. Is he going to be healthy for the start of the season? We don't
Bills
know.
Would be great. We know
Was it a Fugazi? We don't know. Trey Lance? We don't know. Sam Darnold's there for some reason. But the core of that team, and we've seen them be good with a mediocre quarterback for a long time. I think that they're going to be fine. The Miami Dolphins are interesting because they keep adding on some really, really good players. We still don't know totally what Tua is, but I think that when he's healthy, he's a really great quarterback. They added Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
They added Jalen Ramsey to an already very good defense. He's going to allow them to play that cover 0 even better than they did before. So I like that. I mean, we could talk about the guy down there on the screen, the Jets. Do you think the Jets are they legit this year?
I wanted to ask you that. As I was Googling, the Jets are coming up as number 4 in the power rankings right now. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this can't be
It's all
right.
smoke. I think it's all smoke.
I agree with you. I don't think the Jets are that good. First of all, Aaron Rodgers has been on the decline for like the last few seasons.
Yep.
The Jets last season to me were just a lot of, like you said, smoke and mirrors. There was just a lot of hype. It was just what was that guy's name? One that got really big. What, it was
Garrett
Juice?
Wilson.
It was
Sauce.
No,
Sauce Gardner.
Sauce. Yeah. I mean, they got hyped up on Sauce Gardner. They gave him a cool thing. Like, yeah,
Mark it down. We're putting Sauce Gardner on regression alert. Sauce Gardner's coming down to earth this season.
Same. Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Jets are going to be. I think the Jets are going to jet. I think they're going to continue with the whole process that they've been as an organization and just not do well.
You just
have
can't.
A lot of hype, not do well.
They're stuck in it. And like, I mean, if they were playing in a different division, right? If they were playing in the same division as, the Browns and the Steelers and the Ravens, like I could see them really dominating that division. They're playing against Miami, who we just talked about as being very, very good. They're playing against the Bills. The Bills are going to be back and good. I know there's this controversy with Stephon Diggs right now. I think it's a lot of hot air. I think the Bills are going to be back. They're going to be really, really good. So it's just going to be tough. And you never know what Bill Belichick's going to pull out you when you see him twice a year. He could, that team could be terrible and they can still beat you.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I hate that team. But hey.
Let's see. So Freddie's talking. So I have all the same good teams as last year, but it's June. So he's kind of running down the teams that he thinks are going to be good this year. And they are. They are the teams that were good last year.
Well,
Giants.
What?
Giants are on regression this year. I think the Giants are going to miss the playoffs. I don't think that they're going to be very good. Philly. Yeah, Philly's going to be good. Detroit. I like to think that Detroit's going to keep getting better, but it's just so hard to tell because it's not a whole lot of great talent on that team.
The Saints? You think the Saints are going to come out of that division?
I think the Saints are going to be bad.
I think the Saints are going to be bad too. I think the whole NFC South as a whole is just, I want to say the Falcons are going to come out of it. I have no idea who's going to come out of it. I genuinely don't.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know what to expect because all those teams just seem terrible to me. They all seem like they're just going to get bounced in the first round. Whoever makes that wild card run is going to get bounced immediately.
100%. The only
Cincinnati,
team that I feel like is going to be fun is the Falcons just because they're young. Cincinnati, yeah, definitely going to be good. Philadelphia, great.
Yep. Baltimore, I don't know how much better they're going to be than they already were. I know that they're adding, some wide receivers for Lamar Jackson. I don't know how much it's going to help, to be honest. They still have other holes they need to fill too. And there's just the question about whether Lamar Jackson's going to be able to play a full season of football. That's a continuing question. Chargers, they're going to miss. Chargers are going to charger. That's all they do. They're a great team on paper. They play beautiful football, and then they get down to the fourth quarter and they lose. Who else we got? Dallas. I don't like the Cowboys. I don't know what to tell you. Cowboys are going to cowboy. They're going to lose a bunch of games they shouldn't lose too. The Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks just had another really, really good draft. I want to see them improve on making it to the, a playoff game last year. I think that they will. The division got way worse all of a sudden. All of a sudden the Rams are bad. All of a sudden the Cardinals. Well, the Cardinals were already bad, but they were at least good on paper. Now they're really bad. So I could see the Seahawks doing much better this year. I really hope that they do. I think it's really going to come down to whether Geno's last season was, smoke or not. And I don't think it was. I think Geno Smith's a good quarterback. I think that they finally found themselves a legitimate number 3 at receiver. And I think that Seattle's probably still going to sign at least one more free agent. So look out for that. I think Seattle's going to be one of the better teams in the NFC this year.
I mean, I can see that. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Okay, let's just do it. No information at all. AJ, who wins the AFC and who wins the NFC?
Kansas City.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just gonna say the Chiefs. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know who else is.
That's all you're gonna say.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, here's what I got for you. The Super Bowl is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are going back to back this year. They're going to win it. They're going to beat Cincinnati. That's my prediction.
All right, I'll take it. I don't think so. I think Kansas City's going to move in, but I just think Kansas City's going to win.
Look, I'm not going to hate.
Like,
I'm not going to hate on that pick at all. I'm only picking Cincinnati, so I'm not picking the Chiefs. Yeah, I just feel like, the Chiefs every other year, they're a little bit worse than they were the year before. That's what it feels like. All right, AJ.
You're not wrong.
Let's close this off one more time. One last time off the top 3.
All right.
AJ, I want to know, what were your top 3 predictions made on this show? All time. The history of this show. What were your top 3 predictions that were made?
Oh, man, I know there was one that was like really good that I'm never going to remember. Calling, well, I guess I'll do this one. Calling the Nuggets gentleman's sweep.
That was a good one. Very
good
solid
one.
Pick.
I don't know, man. There's a few. I'm just gonna go with that. I can't remember any of the other ones.
Really?
I really can't.
I remember a couple bad ones that we had. I remember a couple really bad ones.
Let's do that.
I believe I picked the Bucks to beat the Ravens on like a Thursday night football the next day after this show, and they got absolutely creamed.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. We called a couple good Super Bowl ones too.
Yeah. I believe we had some good picks on the Eagles. I think we were seeing ahead on that one, and of course, Messi to Miami. Who could forget?
Oh yeah, who could forget? That was a great one for you. Yeah, no, it was a good one. We have good predictions. I'm just not the type of guy that's like, I'm gonna lord this prediction over everybody's head because that was right once. All right, I'll throw it back to you. Similar situation. Top 3 favorite moments in your time on FCTV.
The whole history of FCTV.
Yeah, or like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There were a lot of really good ones when we were doing the post-game show.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
There were some solid ones. I will say this one you weren't there for. You were in the building, but the post-game show following People's Championship 2.0, what a blast that show was. Just got to celebrate the Zappers, got to, all that stuff. Very, very fun. I will say also there was a week where it was just myself and TGP hosting the post-game show. TGP and I had an absolute blast doing that show. It was so fun. And then I'm going to say, I believe it was this show following the 49ers lost to the Eagles during the playoffs. I remember that show being very, very fun, and I got to make fun of the 49ers a whole lot, which is one of my favorite things to do. Oh, also, you know what? We had Mitch Kidd on this show, and that was a fantastic interview. I love doing that one, so that's going to be an honorable mention.
There you go. First honorable mention thrown in last show of the season.
I don't think that's the first. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for Don't Cause a Ruckus season 1. We think the show's gonna be back eventually. We really do. We don't know when. We don't know what that timeline's gonna look like. But when there is fan-controlled sports to talk about, we will be here to talk about it. I can guarantee you that. So, AJ, say goodbye to the people.
To all the people that came and watched, thank you guys. We've done some crazy, dumb, weird stuff along the way, and we appreciate you guys watching and spending time with us and listening to our random takes. Shout out to Jim in the back, to Josh Makuga, Dees, Rob, all the owners, the commish, everybody in FCF, Ruthless Cutie, everybody who helps us do this every week. Just thank you guys for giving us this platform and the time to talk. And yeah, just, to everybody that listened, thanks. Thanks for the time.
Freddie Airmail, BC Lion, just everybody who is here. Yeah, Peanut, Jay Spacely, everybody who showed up every week in the chat, giving us topics to talk about, arguing with us in the chat. Yeah. Really loved it. Really appreciate you guys showing up every single week, enjoying the content. We hope to see you guys again. We hope we're doing more content for you soon. But until next time, keep the ruckus to a minimum.
Don't cause a ruckus. We talking that talk, just spitting them facts. We setting them traps and cracking them back. We got all the news, we know all the stories. We start from the bottom, rise up to the glory. We say what your local reporters can't say. We break down the X's and O's on the play. It's AJ, King, Khah and Jose Ruckus. We call it right on the first take and they love us. Yeah, we the best when it comes to sports debate. Find the podcast and let it play. If we get you in your feelings, that's okay. AJ and Jose send you on your way like, bruh, don't cause a ruckus.
We just call it how we see it, big bro.